think it brings the fun element back. It's boring to just always do English and maths.
It's a more exciting approach, and it's an approach that engages all children.
I think this way of learning is much better because it's fun.
The children were buzzing with it. They loved the excitement. They had a brilliant time.
The sleepy village of Ombersley in Worcestershire gave its name to an ancient woodland deforested 800 years ago. But now, another forest is taking root. At Ombersley Endowed First School, the Year 3 and 4 class are learning about rainforests this term using a cross-curriculum approach. Head teacher, Mary Jones, aims to roll out a cross-curriculum approach throughout the whole school.
How I see a creative curriculum is one where you can be creative with the use of time, the use of the timetable, how you actually present the curriculum, so getting people to come in, going out on visits, having the children experiencing a lot of things with hands-on experience, so that, as the children say, they can feel things, they can touch things, they can sense things.
What could you tell me about those pictures?
That one has bluebells and that one doesn't. Bluebells are more colder and in the rainforest it's really hot, so you won't see any bluebells.
This is Rhiannon Jordan's third term of cross-curriculum teaching with this class. Previous topics included space and the Tudors.
Cross-curricular planning is where I try to incorporate all of the aspects of the national curriculum under one heading, and we like to call it a learning journey, where the children actually learn for a purpose rather than just a discrete lesson where they do an hour each week where they pick up different areas. It makes it more relevant.
Got to be very careful about
The current topic of rainforests had a spectacular start with a special guest.
Some of you might have seen one of these before.
The first lesson, we were really lucky that we had an expert already that we already knew about.
And there he is. That's a baby beetle. Look. And this one is the beetle larvae, the grub.
He comes in with his animals and his artefacts and his experience, which really fires them up.
Now this is what that grub will turn into. This one was born in Great Britain, it was born in captivity, so it wasn't taken from the wild.
Where's its eyes?
I'll try and show you the eyes in a moment. They're just at the base of the horns down there. They've got quite good eyesight, which is good if you fly. I'm quite lucky because I have one of the sort of sexiest topics of the environment, which is tropical rainforests. So it's a perfect vehicle for any subject you want in school. I think you can cover everything, maths, science, geography, the whole package, it's there. I think children just find it so exciting. This is the blowpipe, okay? And this is what rainforest people use for hunting the animals. The blowpipe is the wow factor, really. The tribal side is harder to get across to them. They like the animals, but when you show them the blowpipe, you show them actually it working and say, this is real, this is a real one, it was brought back from a tribe. They see the person who made it in the photographs, and they can make that connection. These are the darts, okay. This one's not particularly sharp at the moment. I can sharpen it with my nice Amazonian pencil sharpener, otherwise known as a piranha fish. Trying to explain that life in the rainforest is harsh, people have to hunt, it's not black and white. Throw a few spanners into their thinking to try and sort of challenge them and make them think, well, yeah, I never thought of it that way. And this is a child's blowpipe, this one. That goes in there like that.
Already this term, the children have covered geography, maths, ICT, science and art in their rainforest project.
My big issue about doing cross-curricular teaching was that there wouldn't be enough evidence. How could I actually report what I'd been doing, parents' evening, book trawls with senior management? How could I actually show that this is working, the children are achieving? And actually, you kind of realise that although written work is important, it's not the only way of assessing the progress. And the activities that we do in the classrooms, constant speaking and listening, observational assessment is so much more valuable because you pick up on the key examples of their understanding.
Cross-curriculum teaching is an approach the head teacher has been keen to introduce since she started at this school 3 years ago. Not all the teachers were as enthusiastic to take it on as Rhiannon.
I realised that these teachers, who were all at different points, were going to need quite careful handling. And it was going to take a long time, and it wasn't going to be something that I could introduce in 2 staff meetings and start in September. So we actually took a whole year just preparing ourselves for it in the first place. In that year we had our Excellence and Enjoyment Week, so we had these special theme weeks, some of which involved mixing the children up so that they were completely cross-phase, cross-age group. So we had reception children working alongside Year 4s, which works fantastically in our school.
And starting with a themed week approach is precisely how another school is introducing cross-curriculum teaching. Heath Mount Primary in Birmingham is an inner-city school in a deprived area which involved more than 400 pupils in its first themed week about Africa.
The theory behind the Africa Week was that we were aware that some of our children have families that live in Africa.
Good afternoon, children. I'm teacher.
Last year, the Somalian ladies, our mums, quite a few of them came actually as a delegation to me, saying we are new to this area and we feel that we're not quite part of it just yet. And they were actually offering to make their culture a bit more part of the school community.
This school has many children from different countries who speak in different languages other than English, including Somali, Arabic, Urdu and other kind of languages.
We were aware that many of the Somalian population, which is an increasing population within our community, so we felt that by inviting the families in and sharing their experiences and their knowledge was a better way of learning than through books and through the theory. We actually had it from first-hand people with experience. And I also think it empowered the children from a Somalian background for them to have the opportunity of sharing their understanding of their background as well.
It developed into a real exciting project, very concentrated, hard work, but I think a lot was gained and parents felt very much part of it as well.
As well as inviting parents into the school, there was a series of interactive workshops over the week.
Every class in Key Stage 2 did a drumming workshop and got a huge amount out of it. It was for all learners. It was a fantastic kind of kinesthetic, moving about activity. I think they learned to work as a team, that they all have to play together, and they pull together to create a fantastic sound, a fantastic rhythmic wall of sound, if you like. When we start, you see a couple of children maybe not hitting to rhythm, but by the end, everyone's in rhythm, everyone's stopping at the same time, and it's a fantastic teamwork learning exercise.
Can you count these for me, please, to see if we've got...
The school has gone from special measures to receiving an outstanding report from Ofsted. But head teacher Najma Chowdhury was not satisfied with good published results.
We were actually top in the country in terms of value added. Just 2 years coming out of special measures, we actually shot up to being top in the country for the progress our children had made from Year 2 through to Year 6.
I like this part the most.
We recognised core subjects were what we needed to improve on, and we did. I'm so grateful to the staff with the efforts they put in. We've done really well. But we needed to move on from there. We needed to look at how we were achieving results in the foundation subjects. And for the last many years, we had a very structured approach. We did them subject-wise. We made sure all the subjects of the national curriculum were covered.
Let's have a little go on a piece of paper.
But I felt we weren't maximising the time, and I felt the children weren't seeing the link between the subjects. And thirdly, I felt some of our work wasn't as practical as it could be. And children need that buzz, they need excitement, they need it interesting for them to enjoy their day. Education should be enjoyable, not a chore, and that's what we're trying to do.
There are limits to what school staff can do, and working with experts can really enhance the children's learning.
In a piece of cross-curricular artwork, the artwork is the only lasting legacy that you have, and also it has to sum up the whole week's work in the space of about a minute while people come and see it. That's quite a hefty brief to do that with, so a good way to do it is do it big. And because I was dealing with 400 children who were taking part in it, and every child in the school's taking part and doing a part of this hanging, I thought it would be nice if they all had their own space on the hanging and they all got to paint with professional quality paints, and this is special theatre design stuff. It's what's actually used in theatres, so it's lovely to see them have the opportunity to use that sort of materials where otherwise perhaps they wouldn't.
And the Ombersley children have been using a variety of materials and techniques for their artwork.
We're doing collages to make our window look like a rainforest, like we're looking into a rainforest.
I explained to them that obviously we couldn't go to the rainforest, and so one little girl put her hand up and said, "Can't we make a rainforest?" And then they said they wanted to make the classroom a rainforest.
A cross-curriculum approach frees up the timetable to allow Rhiannon to capitalise on unforeseen circumstances. One of her most successful science lessons was completely spontaneous.
We talked about the water cycle and in basic terms the condensation and the evaporation. And that was a completely impromptu lesson where something hadn't worked on my computer. And so I scuttled off to the staff room, got the kettle and thought, we'll talk about the kettle and the steam in relation to the climate of the rainforest. And they just went with it. Because of the warmth that makes the steam. But what actually is the steam, Amrit?
Water.
I had light bulb moments on the carpet. And children saying, well, that's why the windows steam up in the classroom. That's why my window ledge is wet. It's because of the condensation. What do we get on the windows?
Oh, condensation.
Condensation! Oh, fantastic. Why is it like the rainforest?
The children soon grasped the concept of the water cycle, and that led to another idea, creating a mini rainforest terrarium. So they put pen to paper to ask for help from a local garden centre.
We can develop a cross-curricular approach without the expense of getting a lot of people in, or you can use the expertise that parents have to offer, that people in the village and the community have to offer. It doesn't have to be expensive.
So we invite as many different people as possible because it engages the children. We've got Matt from Barnet Hill. He brought in a huge range of plants, which has the wow, which then enthuses them and switches them on to the learning, to the writing, to the art, because it's such a wow factor, and their engagement then means that they take on their learning.
Some little tiny hairs, extremely sensitive.
Not surprisingly, these boys were quite taken with the Venus flytrap.
It only works on very, very small things like this caterpillar we've stuck in there.
If we put food in, like, would it go like that if we put it in slowly?
It can do if somebody managed to drop a little tiny piece in there. Be careful not to touch it with your fingers. Drop that inside there. Obviously not hungry. If we were to poke them with our finger, it usually damages it, so it comes up very slowly. Whereas if it's something like a fly, it knows that it's the food, and it closes up a lot faster.
Does it go quicker or that?
I could do a collage of a flower.
How does Rhiannon make sure her cross-curriculum approach fits in with the national curriculum?
Using the national curriculum as the starting point, because it's really easy to think about the idea and then fit the objectives around the activity, and you actually end up taking it to a higher level and developing their thinking skills, developing their skills that they need to succeed later on, and how if the butterfly's going down in numbers, the plant's going down in numbers, and there's a cycle then of the life cycle of the plant that we can pull in as well.
You might find there is in a woodland.
You think those would be in a woodland? In an English woodland?
I don't think you will.
Why not?
Because they look more tropical.
I found at the very beginning when I started the approach that the planning was really scary. That it was huge because there was so much to cover and you hadn't got the restrictions of published materials already. So it was very open-ended. Do you think it's better learning like this?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you know what it feels like and you know what it looks like.
Also, I like getting dirty hands.
As long as I'm constantly aware of the objectives that I need to cover, I can actually be led more by the children and so they're more enthusiastic because they have ownership.
So we spoke about this one earlier, the one that catches the flies. Where do you think it should go in the tank? Because we've got this bit which is very wet down the front because there's not much drainage in. We've got this bit up the top. There's plenty of drainage up there. Can you remember if I said like, if it likes it wet or if it likes it dry? Or...
Oh, which one did it like?
Wet. Wet.
Right answer.
I think it brings out the best in all pupils, whether they're gifted and talented or whether they've got special educational needs. So I think it brings out the best in all the children and they can voice what they feel even if they can't write it down on paper.
No, turn that off. That's it, now plug it, unplug it. Right, now just put the plug in again.
And what? The voices.
Okay.
Wow. It looks like a real rainforest.
Welcome to our special celebration assembly, all about this week's African Week in our school.
We have been making African huts and masts and using special paints to make African pots. This type of artwork is called African sandpaper art. Hundreds of years ago, pictures like these were drawn on cave walls.
For us, our cross-curriculum aim is to try, where possible, to find the links so that skills that are learnt in one subject can then be transferred across. But we also recognise that some subjects cannot really lend themselves across. So it's that recognition between thematic where appropriate and also taught in isolation where appropriate, but constantly looking for a skills-led curriculum as opposed to a content-led curriculum.
I think it brings a fun element back. It's boring to just always do English and maths. And as a school, we're sort of proud to say we have really good standards, so this is an add-on. And why should children who've worked very hard in the year not be able to get exciting things sometimes during their curriculum?
Hola, hola, la.
Also, it's the enjoyment element, and you learn more when you're enjoying yourself, and the children did really enjoy themselves. And it's something that they, it's an experience that they'll take with them for the rest of their lives.
As well as the school having the full backing of the parent governors, some of the Algerian parents agreed to take an assembly for the infants.
The children loved it because they got the chance to show where their mother comes from, because their dad is not from North Africa. And they enjoyed wearing the dresses, because they don't have that many occasions to wear them.
All these dresses are handmade and usually girls learn how to make them at college. Here is one that my mum designed.
The top part is used to steam the couscous in before serving it.
You want to have a look? You want to touch it? I think the children enjoyed feeling and having a closer look to the camels when we've passed them around, and I think they also enjoyed the cakes. This is more of a break for them, and it's a different method of learning. I mean, you don't just learn from books and, in the lesson, you learn in everyday life as well.
As well as having visitors in school, a cross-curriculum approach means there's the freedom and flexibility to include a trip out. The rainforest topic is perfect for learning about endangered animals and the preservation of natural habitats, something not exclusive to tropical regions, as these children are about to discover.
Now, I know that you've been learning all about the rainforests back in school and how if the rainforests get chopped down, that's a very bad thing. So what's been happening just here? The school contacted me to let me know that they were doing a project of work on rainforests, and obviously it was a little bit tricky for them to visit a rainforest, so they were interested in whether they could visit a woodland locally to them and learn about some of the forest ecosystems and the things that we're doing that might tie in with rainforests. What we've been doing is something called coppicing, where we take off the shoots of the tree, and what that actually means is the light in the springtime, it gets right down to the forest floor and all of the plants can grow with that sunlight. You'll get lots of insects feeding off the plants, lots of caterpillars, and then therefore lots of butterflies. So actually the coppicing of this woodland is helping the survival of the butterflies in this wood.
Whoa, that sure is a mummy spider.
They also wanted to focus particularly on butterflies, which is brilliant because a lot of our woodlands in Worcestershire are managed for butterfly conservation.
Is that the one that we've seen on Hood?
Yep, that's right, that's the wood white, which is found in these woods. Well spotted. The Worcestershire Wildlife Trust is one of 47 wildlife trusts around the country that do education for schools and for adults from nursery right up to A-level on any topic, really, with a wildlife theme running through it. What it is just one piece of card, and it's got a little piece of sticky tape on the front there. We'll peel it off, and then what you're going to do, as you walk along the path, you're going to try and find as many different colours as you can.
Look, what I found.
What's that?
That's charcoal.
Burnt wood. There's more here.
OK, so what have you got there, Tyler? An acorn. Excellent. And where did you find it?
Under the moss on that tree.
Excellent. So you think a little mouse has hidden that there? And now you're hiding it there in your pouch. This trip today has touched on a lot of different curriculum areas. We've done some science, looking at life cycles. We've got the geography of looking at the maps and whereabouts the children are located in the woods. And also thinking about how old the woodland is and how big and tall the trees are. So we've got also history and maths in there as well.
And stimulating environments aren't necessarily confined to the great outdoors. At Heath Mount Primary, it looks like the Starship Enterprise has landed.
We focused a lot in the last 2 years on our learning environments in school, both the internal and the external environments, because we believe before looking at large curriculum changes, it's important to have the foundations in place to allow for these alternative techniques to be used. We're now in our new computer room called Computer Earth. It's recently been built, and as we can see, our Year 6 children are doing internet research on Africa in preparation for all the work they're going to be studying this week during their themed week.
I'm just starting to find out about African people.
I'm finding some information about country Madagascar. I'm writing some things about it.
The children are doing some research into aspects of life in Africa, animals and the different countries. They're going to be painting flags later in the week, so they've been looking to see what they can find out about the country where the flag is that they're going to paint. And as you can see, they've all been very excited and very motivated by what they're doing. I think a mixture of cross-curricular and discrete subject teaching works well, particularly with Year 6 children who are going on to secondary school.
One of the challenges of cross-curriculum teaching is to combine it with the demands SATs place on the timetable.
With the SATs as they are at the moment, I'm not sure how teachers are going to feel about taking on a fully cross-curricular approach. Although in schools where they have done it, they have found that their standards have either been maintained or have risen in literacy and numeracy, because the children are using their knowledge in a very purposeful way.
And following the trip to the woods, Rhiannon plans in a maths lesson for the children as they need to record data.
The children took the colour charts that they collected from the woods in their visit and looked really carefully at the different shades that they collected. They collected the numbers in a tally chart and then represented it as a bar chart.
So how much have the children learned about rainforests and how their terrarium works?
But we put some water in when we first planted them, and because they've got lids on, the water goes up and then it comes back down as water, so it's like a cycle.
Why have we got water on the sides here?
It's when it gets cold and wet, and then it turns into water because the heat isn't on it anymore.
And you said that's just like it happens in the rainforest?
Yeah.
I feel I was very honoured to be part of a team that made this week a real exciting opportunity for our children to not only have fun with, but also to learn from.
There's no doubt at all that this way works. I wouldn't really want to be going back to discrete subject teaching at all, because I want it to be meaningful for the children. I want them to make links, because they will be making links in life, so they need to make links in their learning and be able to transfer their skills from one area to another.